Welcome to the RadioU Podcast. Coming up, what is the weirdest Instagram account that Allie follows?
Also, Misa says Darth Jar Jar is coming to Fortnite.
All that and more on the way next. Happy Monday, Allie.
Happy Monday.
You're dressed very springy today.
Yeah, I got the spring colors on, some salmon color. You also have pink on, so...
We're very springy.
Yeah.
We're very bright today, bright and happy.
Except you do have a black hat on.
Yeah, well, not a lot goes with pink, I found. And so I had to match the black hat as the best I could do. How was your Easter?
It was great. How was yours?
Anything fun happen? You went very quickly to how was mine. So.
Well, because I just feel like the usual happened. There's nothing out of the ordinary. Got together with family, had a good, Easter dinner, as we talked about, with ham and all of the fixings. And then, had a great Easter service at church. So, yeah, it was great.
You asked, I had a great Easter. We did. First, let's talk about the Easter dinner. Listen to how country this sounds.
I was going to say, how did it work out with the country fried steaks?
Well, we did have country fried steak instead of the traditional ham, which was great.
Or the kebabs.
Yeah, well, there were kebabs.
Okay.
Because my mom was dedicated to making the lamb kebabs.
So she really likes them.
She made them the night before with other friends they had over, and there were leftovers. I wonder why. And then they were like, but listen, this is the best kebabs. This is the best lamb. You have to try this. And so I was like, if you had to pick a piece of lamb out of this kebab box to convince me to like lamb, which one would it be? And so I took that piece and tried the reheated lamb kebabs from the day before. And it was reheated. It was a day old. It was the best lamb I've ever had.
Okay, so it was good.
I didn't say it was good. I said it was the best lamb I've ever had.
Okay.
I'm glad we went with country fried steak. But also for dessert, like it already sounds country fried steak. We had Dolly Parton pie for dessert.
Wow.
I didn't know. I think it's a new thing. She has her own line of frozen pies. And so that was my contribution. I brought that.
Okay.
And it was very good.
Did you purposely pick that because of the country fried steaks?
No, it was on sale. And it looked good, and I wanted to try it.
Okay.
And I had to I said I would bring dessert, so it was good.
do feel like pies are a staple for Easter, as like a dessert.
Yeah.
Definitely
any holiday.
In the Midwest.
A holiday feels more special if you have pie.
Yeah.
And then, so that was like dinner and stuff. But I should mention, too, that I've noticed that Easter is one of two holidays that can make me cry. There's two holidays. Thanksgiving, I will never cry. Okay. July 4th, my favorite holiday. I will never cry. Christmas, I can cry, which I feel like I don't understand that. But Easter makes me cry, and I think it makes sense. It's a happy cry. My church did this thing. They do this some other times too, but I think they always do it on Easter service. Is like the worship is done while people are getting baptized the entire time. It's like the happiest songs there ever were.
Yeah.
And then people are getting baptized. And it gives me chills and that can make me cry. Maybe one day when I'm older, I might turn into that guy that like just cries at Hallmark movies or whatever. But right now, I can feel that is a possibility for me. But right now, almost nothing makes me cry. But Easter service, I'm crying.
Yeah, I feel like I always cry when I talk about Jesus. So Easter is kind of the epitome of that, but a similar thing happened with my service where there were baptisms going on. And as soon as they were like coming out of the water, we always do this thing where we sing a song. And the song we sing is like, and I ran out of that grave. So it's like the Glorious Day
song. We literally
song.
did the same song.
No way. Yeah. But yeah, so it always does make me cry. But I think what makes me cry more is when people read off their testimonies right before they get baptized. Like that is so meaningful because it's like you literally hear how Jesus has changed another person's life. And that's so awesome.
And something I was thinking about really quickly, but I thought about a lot over the weekend because on, Good Friday when Jesus dies. And when you think about that time and when you think about if that was the end of the story or if Jesus was never around, then these terrible things are happening in the world like that we see in the news every day. And what point does any of that have? Like there's still terrible things, horrible things go on in the world, but at least if Jesus is real and he did what we believe he did, then we all have hope, even despite these horrible things.
Right.
And otherwise, like this is what keeps me from, sometimes I get skeptical, but then it's like, yeah, but what if all these horrible things are happening and there's no point to it?
Right.
And I think about how hopeless that would be.
Yeah.
And then I think, but then we have Jesus. So that's for me anyways, radiou.com/free gift. If you want to know more about that kind of hope, the kind of hope that we experienced over Easter that made me cry.
Hudson, a busy playoff weekend.
There was a lot of games.
Even the RBC Heritage went into a playoff.
That's
like
true.
Playoffs everywhere. There was NHL. There was, playoff for golf and the playoff for the NBA, which is what we're going to talk about right now. Because I feel like we got some chaos, some chalk. It was a good mix of everything.
It was. What is there? One big upset in the first set of games over the weekend. The Wolves beating the Lakers. Other than that, all the home teams won. Right?
No, the Rockets lost to the Warriors.
Oh yeah,
last night.
that's right. That was last night.
I feel like there was two kind of marquee games. Both days. So we had playoff games Saturday, playoff games yesterday. And as you mentioned, the Timberwolves beat the Lakers. A lot of people were anticipating the Lakers to win that. And then last night, playoff Steph and playoff Jimmy just brought it to the Houston Rockets. And I think Houston is definitely going to have a problem in this series. But yeah, it was exciting. The Pacers beat the Bucks, beat them pretty bad. In fact, I know I had said I felt like the Pacers actually were going to win. You feel like the Bucks are going to run through and make it to the finals.
I hold to that. Damian Lillard is supposed to come back for game 3, which is their first home game too for the Bucks. And no series is really a series until the home team loses. And so the Bucks, even if they go back home down 2-0, they can still turn it around.
We'll see. All right. The Nuggets beat the Clippers. That was, I feel like, pretty evenly matched. They won by 2 points.
In overtime.
Yep. And we talked about how we felt like that was kind of one of the matchups in the first round that was very even. The Knicks, they beat the Pistons. Pretty close game, I would say, for the most part. Beat them by about 10 points.
I think that's going to be a short series, though.
Really?
I don't think the Knicks will be challenged too much.
Okay. Then I think, we got to get Nene's thoughts on the Lakers. I feel like the Timberwolves just absolutely destroyed them.
He was talking about Lakers in 5. Like, that's what he's been saying this entire time. But I feel like he was saying that before he even knew who they were playing. But now that's the best case scenario for the Lakers. And if I'm being honest, I also think the Lakers will turn it around. I almost expected them to lose in game 1 because, particularly for LeBron, he doesn't care about game 1, like for better or worse. He is just like, I'm saving my energy for later when the games are actually like elimination games. And so it's not surprising they went down in game 1 to me, but I feel like they can't. The Lakers
can't lose another one.
They're not good enough to play with their food that much to where, like when LeBron was on the Heat or whatever, they could screw around. And the Cavs with Kyrie, you can screw around with lesser teams and lose a game at home and still
end up winning.
Turn it on, but I don't know if the Lakers have that extra gear. I do think they'll win game 2, but I think Anthony Edwards kind of has a playoff gear too that I don't think the Lakers want to experiment with too much. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see. I was honestly surprised that they kept them below 100 points. A team with Luka and LeBron not even scoring 100, that's pretty impressive for a team's defense to get that done. So it'll be interesting to see game 2 where that goes. As far as yesterday's games, mostly chalk other than the Warriors beating the Rockets. But I feel like a lot of people felt like the Warriors were just going to come in, even though they were coming in from the play-in, that they would have a shot to beat the Rockets in that series.
It's that playoff experience. It really matters. You see a lot of the teams that have more experience, or I guess the teams that are very inexperienced in the playoffs didn't do well in the first couple of games.
Yep.
And I think that's a pattern that will be played out through the first round.
Other than the Heat, they did not look as experienced as they should against the Cavaliers. But hey, it's a 1 versus 8.
Yeah, it's Tyler Hero against the Cavs. I got a dating tip for you. Next first date you go on, make sure you're actually doing something. As in, don't just go to a bar or a restaurant or the movies. You actually need to be up and at 'em on your feet somewhere, because there's a new survey, a new study that is out that says that active dates, where there's actually like an activity that the both of you would be doing, 25% more likely to lead to a second date than the more passive dates where you're sitting down somewhere and just talking and eating.
Okay.
So, get out there, get up on your feet, do some hiking, get outdoors.
Yeah.
I think hiking makes a lot of sense. It actually says of all the dates that they surveyed, hiking had the best success rate for getting a second date.
For a first date?
Yeah, hiking is the best first date if you want a second date.
Or if you want to die.
What?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not going hiking with someone I just met.
There's very public places you can go hiking. There's lots of other people around.
There's also an odds that there may not be anyone around.
There's a chance. You got to choose wisely.
I would... No thanks. I would much rather be in a very, very public place. Like, I don't mind doing some type of activity, but hiking?
You're thinking of this as you can only have a first date with somebody you meet online you have no idea about. Go on a first date with somebody you already know that you know isn't going to kill you.
I'm not just thinking of that, but that is the most popular way people find dates now, Hudson. And this survey is by a matchmaking company.
So they're telling you the best. They want to help you find a match. You want to match by going on a hiking date.
And they also said it's only 25% more likely. So like, what's 100% more?
There is no such thing.
Well, what's 75?
There isn't. This is the best you can do. The best you can do is go hiking.
25% more likely.
Hiking makes sense to me.
It's not just hiking though. They just said an activity, like doing something.
Yeah, but they said hiking out of all of the doing something dates was the best, had the highest success rate that they found.
I would not go hiking on a first date.
And I think it makes sense because if you want to go on a hiking date and somebody can't keep up with you, if you're a hiker and they're not, then it's not going to work. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So if they can't say yes to the hiking date the first time, then later on when you want to hike and they don't, it's not going to work. Imagine
you on a first date and you're hiking and you just leave the person. That would be
leave
pretty
them behind.
Bad. Yeah. If their pace is slower than yours, why the heck are you going faster than them? This is a date.
I know. That's what I'm saying. But some people, I guess it could, like, they might say yes to be nice because they really, they like you. They think they like you anyways. And then they can't they're like, hiking isn't for me. Then that could show very quickly that you guys, there's a difference between you all.
And that's okay.
That's fine too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But other day, like you know what? There's only so much you can learn when you're just sitting at a restaurant, I think.
I mean, it does give you an opportunity to talk to somebody. And you should be doing that on a first date. To me, going to a movie is like a really tough first date because you don't really get an opportunity to talk to them that much.
Yeah.
And that may feel like a low barrier of entry, so it's not as worrisome. You're worried that you won't have stuff to talk about and it won't go well. And so you're like, okay, let's go see a movie so we don't have to worry about awkward silence.
Yeah.
But I do feel like that is tough for you to actually get to know the person. So to me, a first date is all about getting to know that person. So I would want an environment where you can do that.
Yeah. And where you have other stuff, like, when you're hiking and you aren't talking to each other, it's okay. I think that's a big thing.
I just said that you need to talk to them on the first date.
No, you need to not feel nervous when you're not talking.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Those awkward silence moments will happen.
This is why
Sheena came on the show not too long ago and mentioned that. She was like, when two people meet each other for the first time, it's not going to be fireworks.
It's not,
all the time.
All on cylinders, yeah.
Yeah, and so sometimes it may be a little bit awkward, and that's okay.
It's okay. It's much weirder when you're just sitting across a table from each other.
Sure.
And nobody knows what to say.
Sure.
Than when you're hiking or at a cooking class.
Or doing like putt-putt.
There can be some breaks where, you're not going to constantly talk while you hike. Sometimes you're out of breath.
Yeah, but I do think hiking is a bad idea. I think you should, unless you know the person very, 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 very well and you can trust them, I don't think you should do that.
Yeah. You guys sometimes y'all act like, I don't know if I want to say this, like every guy is about to just bop you over the head.
What if the girls someone's going to bop you over the head.
Sure, that could happen. I've never been afraid of that. I understand you have to have wherewithal for that.
I'm sorry, Hudson, but you have to think about these things as a woman. You have to.
You have to. And you have to be prepared.
Yes.
So
you have to share your location.
So go hiking and bring pepper spray.
No, I don't want to even put myself in that position is what I'm saying.
We're about to get another update to Fortnite, and this is going to be interesting. On May 2nd, it was just confirmed after this has been rumored for a little while, Star Wars is going to be collaborating with Fortnite once again. This one's going to be goofy. Darth Jar Jar will be in Fortnite. If you've never heard of Darth Jar Jar, it is a ridiculous fan theory that holds that Jar Jar Binks was secretly a Force user and the real villain in the Star Wars episodes 1 through 3.
Yeah.
And so this fan theory is now become so prevalent. It's basically it's going to be turned into Fortnite.
Yeah.
Which is amazing to think about.
It's just crazy to me. It's like, I guess this shows like if you as a fandom can be loud enough about a theory, you might actually get it to happen.
They basically, the Star Wars fandom, the Darth Jar Jar fandom manifested this basically into existence.
Right. This is how the Snyder cut of Batman v Superman came out.
Yeah, that's right.
Fans would not shut up about it. And eventually Warner Brothers was like, we will have to release it. Mm-hmm. And it was great.
If you can just be annoying enough, long enough, people will do the ridiculous things that you want them to do. At least companies will, I suppose.
Just to get you to shut up.
Yeah. And to make a few people happy. So I don't know if this is going to make me happy as a Fortnite player, but it sounds fun to goof around with a little bit.
The thing I'm excited to see is there's a new ability called Force Lightning.
Okay.
And I feel like that's going to be really interesting to see how that looks in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's Fortnite, so anything can be anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's no limits. Nothing is off the table for whatever you can do in the game. And so I feel like I'm not upset that they're doing it. Mm-hmm. It's not really something that appeals to me necessarily.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely not going to avoid Fortnite because of this either. But I'm sure there's some people out there that are going to be absolutely thrilled to hear this news. And of course, the update comes just days before May the 4th. And I think that is, appropriately timed. I think they know what they're doing with that.
Well planned.
Yeah. So be prepared. May 2nd is when the update actually comes. Meanwhile, we still have all the Sabrina Carpenter stuff in Fortnite, which I never did. I never got to be Sabrina Carpenter.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I don't play Fortnite, but when a season changes, do they take away those characters or are they still in the game?
No, yeah, you see them way less often because people will just change. But
yeah,
like once you have something, like you just have it.
Okay.
Like around Christmas, they had like Christmas stuff with Snoop Dogg involved.
I think I remember this.
And like, yeah, I could still be Christmas Snoop Dogg if I wanted to.
I mean, yeah, you would be. Are you laughed at when you use old stuff? Like, do people make fun of people for doing that?
Probably. I don't even know. Like, I don't listen to what other people say in Fortnite.
You're 5 months behind or whatever.
No matter what I was, people would make fun of me if I was listening. So no. So I don't know.
The 12-year-old boys.
Yeah. 8772 Radio U. Let us know any movies or shows that you've seen recently. Send in your review. Since it's time for our Monday tradition, the box office breakdown, looking at what made money and what didn't in theaters over the weekend. I'll tell you, I have to admit this. I was wrong, Allie.
You were wrong about what?
If you go back to our weekend watch list from this past weekend, I pretty confidently declared Minecraft movie would be number 1 again.
Oh, was it not?
And it was number 2.
Really? What beat it out?
Minecraft movie made $41 million in North America, but that was not enough to get to number 1 because Sinners is the number 1 movie in America, making $45 million.
Wow, that's actually surprising to me that it beat it out.
That's a huge opening weekend for a R-rated horror movie.
Yeah, pretty good.
But with Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler, it did very well.
I've also heard very good things about it, so I think word of mouth is helping this movie out.
The reviews were great for it. I will say It says it costs about $90 million to make. So it should get back to that once you incorporate all of the international money that it makes and how it will still, I mean, if it makes $45 million in its first weekend, it should have some solid second and third weekends coming up. So a movie that should at least break even, and a movie that seemed worthwhile because it did get very well reviewed as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, I did not see it.
I haven't seen it yet, but I am planning to go watch this.
Rounding out the top three, we had The King of Kings, which fitting for Easter, that made actually $17 million.
Whoa!
Which is almost as much as it made in its first weekend, so that's a good sign.
That is impressive. Only a 5.4% drop for it. That's insane. You never see that for any movie.
Yeah, that is very good. So what did you watch lately, Allie?
Well, honestly, I was watching a lot of sports over the weekend. There was just, as I said, there was a lot of sports stuff happening. We had the RBC Heritage in Hilton Head, South Carolina. I love that tournament. It always follows up the Masters. You know, the Masters, it's the green jacket. The RBC Heritage, it's the plaid jacket. So it's like the little brother to the Masters. I can't not watch it. And last year, I didn't even remember this for whatever reason. Last year, Scottie Scheffler directly went from winning the Masters to winning the RBC Heritage. I was like, most of the time they don't even play in that after they win the Masters.
Rory didn't play this weekend.
No, he didn't play in that. So, but anyways, I watched that. I watched, we got a lot of playoff basketball that I watched. I also enjoy baseball, so I was watching baseball games. I didn't get to Companion, even though that was new on Max over the weekend, but I really do want to watch that, so I'll try and get to that this week.
I appreciate all of that, but this is a movie segment, movies and shows.
I'm sorry.
Regina always likes to text in her reviews of what she's seen lately. She watched House of David.
Ooh, yeah.
On Prime Video. She says she loved it. They cheered when, spoiler alert, David beheaded Goliath and held up his head.
It was a great moment. I agree with Regina.
Now, what I've watched recently, I have been slacking on movies a little bit because there's been a lot of shows out that I need to keep up with. And so the top thing that I watched lately is the finale of Daredevil Born Again, aka the fourth season of Daredevil, was this past week.
Yeah.
And I got to say, after going through the entire ride of the series, I was kind of annoyed.
Really?
Yeah. It's not that it didn't have great moments, especially like the first episode, very fun, like kind of what you hope for with Daredevil. And then it takes a lot of just like, there's 9 episodes, some are good, some not as much. There's kind of like, I feel like maybe they struggle with pacing a little bit of like trying to not, like some episodes are completely different than others. You know what I mean? Like it's like you're watching an entirely different show.
That's weird.
Some are really courtroom focused. Some are focused on different characters or whatever. And what really frustrated me though is that to me, and I want to know what other people think of this that have finished the new season of Daredevil at 8772 Radio U. It kind of just felt like it was a trailer for other Marvel TV stuff and didn't really, like we got to the end of episode 9. And it's like, this is not a satisfying conclusion to me. And I know sometimes, like, even at the end of a season, you like to leave cliffhangers.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that. It was like, this is not a complete story to me. And it is, they did clearly set it up for some other stuff to happen that they plan on making in the future, which is fine. And I'll be there for it. But which I guess really shows that it didn't upset me enough.
Yeah.
And I just felt like very unsatisfied when it concluded.
And it's a tough balance to strike because as you mentioned, it's like if shows want to continue on or want to build up to something, they can't leave you fully satisfied because they want you to come back, but also to leave you unsatisfied, that shouldn't be what they do at all.
And it really bothers me with movies when the movie doesn't like encapsulate an entire story either.
Yeah.
It very frustrates me. I just don't want to watch a 2-hour trailer or a 9-episode trailer for the next thing you're going to do.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Make the show or the movie.
Yep.
And then make other stuff if the first one does well.
Right.
So that was my frustration.
Yeah.
With the new season of Daredevil. Obviously, I watched the whole thing. If they make another season, I'm going to watch it. But I just wish they did it in a different way.
Disney is counting on you, Hudson.
We talked last week on the show about how one of the things that seems to come up a lot for me is how I like the restaurant BJ's a lot. It's a good restaurant, a good experience. But my enjoyment of BJ's has taken a hit.
Okay.
Because last week they announced they were going to be putting a broccoli cheddar Pizookie on the menu.
Right.
Literally, it's supposed to be like the Pizookie is a pizza cookie. It's really just a big cookie made in a pizza tin kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they were going to make a broccoli cheddar version, top it with mashed potatoes, scoops of mashed potatoes instead of scoops of ice cream. And they said they were putting this on the menu. This wasn't like a social media thing. This was a press release they put out.
Right. It felt real.
And then we learned on Friday after the show that was all a joke.
It was all a lie.
It wasn't even a joke. They weren't like, ha ha. They're like, we seriously considered it and put out a press release. And then we changed our mind and made a Snickers Pizookie instead, which sounds great too.
Sure.
I'm sure that'd be great. And I don't even want a broccoli cheddar Pizookie. It sounds nasty. But what I really don't want is for you to lie to me.
Yeah.
And lie to everybody.
I feel like it's the whole like egg on the face thing. Like it doesn't even make, it makes them look bad to do something like this.
I think so.
You know what I mean? Because it's like they went back on their word and then they put out this press release about the Snickers Pizookie and they're like, can you believe we even considered that? And it's like, yes, because it actually sounded good to some people.
Wanted it, yeah.
Yeah, like I would have loved to try that.
And honestly, it feels like they're insulting you.
Exactly. It feels like a slap in the face to me as a person that would enjoy more of a savory Pizookie to be like, I can't even believe we thought of this. What a ridiculous idea. It's like, what? Like, I thought it was a great idea.
I also like how every time we talk about broccoli cheddar, you start doing a voice. You have a broccoli cheddar voice.
I have a broccoli cheddar voice?
Yeah. You did it both times now.
What did I do last time?
The same voice.
I don't remember it.
You were like, I like it. I really want to try it. I don't know. I can't do your character, but you have a broccoli character.
Maybe it's the broccoli from VeggieTales.
You turn it.
Like
maybe.
this?
Yeah, that could be. It kind of has like a bit of an accent.
Yeah.
That's maybe vaguely British.
It's not British. It's like, the old announcing that was like from the early 1900s.
Yeah.
It used to be like,
oh, he fired a howitzer there. Yeah. That's your broccoli voice.
Yes.
What does that have to do with broccoli?
I don't know. There's a name for that accent. I can't remember what it's called, but there's a name for it. And it was like totally just a thing that was made up, for announcing. Wow. And I'm just playing that role.
I don't know. I think there's just something about the broccoli that triggers something in you. It triggers a different side of you.
It's a little bit of my quirky side.
Yeah, but hey, we're not going to have to worry about that because BJ's is not doing the broccoli cheddar Pizookie. It's not going to make me not go. But now it's just, you know what it does? It makes me not trust them.
Yep.
And the next time they announce something that I actually want to have, what if they make we're going to have a country fried steak Pizookie.
We're not going to
I don't believe you, even though that sounds like a great idea.
Yep. I'll believe it when I see it. You know what, BJ's? I'm not sad. I'm just disappointed.
Disappointed because you lied. The countdown is on to the Real ID deadline. It's really coming this time. May 7th. You have basically just over 2 weeks before you will need a Real ID to be able to board any flight.
Or a passport.
Other even more acceptable forms of ID. But for the average person, like you haven't needed a passport to board a domestic flight from any, between 2 points in the United States. But that's all about to change on May 7th.
I think that was different in Ohio, though. For those of us in a RadioU Ohio land, I think you did need a passport to board a plane.
I always would bring mine when I had one.
And they wouldn't ask for it?
Usually not. But I also have a Real ID now, so this is something that I don't even have to worry about.
Yeah, you're good.
But I know there's all kinds of other people getting all up in arms. And it's not just like the Real ID is kind of a hassle because you do have to go. Even if you already have a driver's license, your driver's license isn't good enough.
Yeah.
You have to get the one that has a little star on it somewhere.
Yep.
That says that you showed another document with your name and address on it to somebody at the DMV.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a big deal when I did it because
there wasn't
the deadline wasn't coming up.
Yeah.
But it is a big deal now because so many people, if you have a flight coming up this summer, you need to get your Real ID in time. And so it's causing a mass panic, basically, of all the people that don't have their ID. And, the DMV has already functioned so well anyways.
Right.
Without having a mass panic that there's just not appointments available. And if you go in, especially on the weekend to one of your DMV or BMV or whatever you call it, it's very likely to be mobbed because everybody's doing the same thing.
Yeah, everyone is also trying to get this ID currently. I don't have to worry about this right now. I don't have the real ID, but I do have a U.S. passport, so I'm good. Don't have any flights coming up as far as I have plans right now, but I'm good for right now. And I do plan to eventually get the real ID, but because I have a U.S. passport, I just feel like it's not really necessary.
I mean, as long as your passport doesn't expire before your driver's license does, you could literally just wait until your driver's license expires anyways and just go and do it then.
Yep,
Why
my
rush?
Driver's license expires, I believe, next year. My passport.
Oh, this will die down by then.
Right. My passport, I think, expires the year after that. So, yeah.
But I think there's a lot of people out there that, because literally, I feel like, I don't know if it's been an entire 20 years, but this real ID thing has been delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed.
Forever.
For our almost entire lifetime.
Yes, feels like it.
The reason they came up with this real ID thing was 9/11, right?
Yeah.
We talked about Patriot Day. And so that was 24 years ago.
Yep.
And so close to that long ago, they came up with this law, and it's been put off until now, which also makes you say, if we've waited this long, why do we even need it? But no, I mean, it's getting a little late now for them to delay it again, or just get rid of it.
Or just to get rid of it.
Everybody's just going to have to live with this. It doesn't affect me. It does affect Mrs. Hudson.
Oh, does she not have one yet?
She doesn't have a real ID. She does not have a passport right now. And
are you guys flying?
We have a flight Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, so she's got to go.
Yeah, it's going to be madness.
Oh, boy. I'm sorry, Mrs. Hudson. That's not going to be fun.
Well, she knew what she was doing.
Oh, did you give her reminders?
I mean, she's just like, I feel like so many other people. She's like, okay, the real ID, whatever, whenever that actually happens. And now it's finally, the chickens are coming home to roost. But there's been a lot of people that have just put this off all this time, and it worked out for them until now.
Yeah.
Water in the cart. Be seated.
You be the judge on Radio U.
We need a verdict on this one. 8772 Radio U. I love this story. It's so interesting to me. In 2023, a secretive gambling syndicate won $95 million Texas lottery jackpot. But they didn't just get lucky. They did it with a bold strategy. Backed by a Tasmanian gambler that goes by the Joker, the group printed every possible number combination for the lottery. Okay? That's 2.5 million lottery combinations.
Oh my goodness.
But they paid for each of these tickets.
Yeah.
They used official lottery terminals to do this. It took them 3 days. They had to operate across 3 locations, but because they guaranteed themselves a win, they wound up taking home a $57.8 million lump sum that, when you account for the cost of the tickets that they bought, netted them $32 million of profit. A hard way to make an easy living, right?
Yeah, sure.
Now, Texas, of course, took issue with this. The state of Texas, their government, their Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick called the gamblers' lottery win the biggest theft from the people of Texas in the history of Texas. State Senator Bob Hall said the tainted win signaled the possibility of an organized crime ring being embedded in the Texas government. And Governor Greg Abbott ordered the Texas Rangers, the baseball team, to investigate, saying the state's residents deserve a lottery that is fair and transparent for everyone. However, Glenn Gelbrand is a New Jersey lawyer who represents the syndicate and said all applicable rules and regulations and laws were followed. So this is the question. Is this legal? Should the gambling syndicate that won the lottery by buying every single ticket combination be able to keep their winnings, or should they be punished? Should they have to pay it back? Should they go to jail?
I don't know.
8772 Radio U.
I don't know. It's so tough with this one, because I also understand what is it Dan Patrick, the Secretary of State who said this, or the Lieutenant Governor who said this?
Lieutenant Governor.
Yeah,
Dan Patrick.
About stealing from the public of Texas, because it does, by this, syndicate doing this, it does block somebody else from winning it. That went about it in a way where they just bought a random ticket and, picked numbers. So it kind of,
I believe what happens, like there can be sold more than one winning combination.
Sure.
Right? And so then they would just split it with that person.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure the syndicate is glad that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Because that would have eaten a lot into their profits.
Yes. That would have destroyed their whole thing. I kind of wish it did happen to them because I think this is idiotic that they would spend $25 million on tickets and then only be able to profit $32 million.
But this is the fun, because some would say the lottery itself is a scam, right? It's theft from the people.
I would agree that the lottery never works out for those that usually do it.
This is one of it feels like there's no good guys.
Yeah.
But there is a right and wrong legal answer. Right. So 8772 Radio U. This is why I'm curious what people legally, should this gambling syndicate that won the lottery by buying every number combination be able to keep their winnings? Should they be punished? What's the verdict here? I'll let you know that Shrew says, as it stands, sounds legal. Now they need to change the rules to account for it in the future.
Yeah.
Tim said, it's definitely sketchy, but it doesn't seem like there is a law against what they did. Allie, what are you thinking on this?
Yeah, I think I agree with them. Like, as far as what I can tell right now, it does sound like they did this through legal means. Mm-hmm. They bought every single ticket legally, and they did it in a way that's it's frustrating for sure, because it's like they didn't win up and up, like on the up and up. It was kind of going behind them. It's just like it's winning in a way that not anyone else really could win. It would take a syndicate. It is
a rich get richer thing. Obviously you have to have the money
to be able to fund this.
That. Yeah.
And so I do feel like I agree with Shrew that the rules do need to change to account for this in the future, or else you could see this happen a lot more. I also wonder if more people would be upset by this if this was like $1 billion Powerball. When that happens, when and it suddenly is in the news every day, no one won the Powerball, it keeps going up or whatever, and everyone's like, ooh, salivating what they would do with $1 billion, even though it's never actually $1 billion that you get, by the way. But I wonder if it wasn't, $95 million or $95 million is still so much money. But I wonder if it was one of those crazy amounts, if it would make a lot more noise.
It would, it would be a higher profile news story for sure. But I wouldn't think that would change the rightness or wrongness of this. I just
think they would change the rules quicker.
Yeah. So this happened in 2023. Texas has changed the rules.
Okay.
Since then. And they haven't been able to, the syndicate that did this has gotten away with it.
So they were able to recoup their funds in 2023. Like they were able to collect the money they won.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They made the $32 million net off of this, which I say kudos to them. Yeah. They outsmart, like what they did, you can't punish them for being smart if they did it legally. And they just outsmarted the entire state of Texas.
I just feel like it's not exactly that smart, because it's like, they just knew that all they needed was the correct combination, and they printed off 25.8 million of the combination.
Okay, so you can't punish them for being smart and also already rich.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the person who figured out that you could do this was rich themselves.
Yeah.
But they found somebody to bankroll it who was. So the laws have been changed now. So if you want to win the lottery, you're going to have to do it the old fashioned way.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, at least in Texas. Allie, I want to talk about this because it was announced over the weekend that Colorado, the school coached by Deion Sanders, was retiring the numbers of Travis Hunter and Cheddar Sanders. Literally, they just finished playing at the school.
Yeah.
They both are in the NFL draft coming up this week.
Right. They're not even in the NFL yet. What if they burn out in the NFL? What if they're terrible in the NFL?
Well, retiring numbers in college is about what you did at college, right?
It should be, but I just mean, like, what if it's so bad that you're just like, oof, this was way too early to make this choice?
I think there's definitely a greater than zero chance that happens to both of them, but we shall see. Especially if any of them wind up in Cleveland. But that's neither here nor there. Allie, should Colorado have retired Travis Hunter and Cheddar Sanders' numbers?
I think Travis Hunter, you can make an argument for. He won the Heisman. Two-way player. Don't see that very often. And I believe it says here he was the first Colorado player to win the Heisman since 1994. Since a player did it in 1994. So that's pretty good. I would say that gives you a reason. As far as Shedeur Sanders goes, that one to me is more of a tricky situation. Yes, he has broken a lot of school records at Colorado, but not a great record at Colorado as a quarterback. As far as wins.
Yeah.
And, didn't
13-11.
Didn't win a bowl game. Didn't win a championship.
Did he participate in their bowl game this year?
I have no idea. I don't follow Colorado because I honestly can't stand the whole Coach Prime situation. I mean, it's annoying.
So you're biased.
I don't know if I'd say I'm biased, but I definitely feel like I would argue that there is bias in play for Shedeur Sanders to be getting his number retired at Colorado.
I think this is something, because we've disagreed on number of retirements in the past, right? Where I feel like we don't do it judiciously enough in many cases.
Okay.
I feel like maybe one thing I think that you need to have your number retired anywhere is like you need to have an accomplishment that you hang your hat on.
Yeah.
Like when somebody says Shedeur Sanders, Colorado, you should have like, oh yeah, that's when he was there. He led them to
Big 12 championship.
He did
and
this.
Won. Yeah.
And I don't know what that is.
He doesn't have that.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't have that. He has random records that he has his name tied to until somebody else comes along and breaks those. Which who knows, that may never happen. But that's way too random. And it's so funny to me because it's like Deion Sanders, his dad, was interviewed and, was trying to defend this decision and his son being, a part of this with his number getting retired. And yet he said what we're all thinking. He literally goes, he's like, let's get the elephant out of the room. If his last name wasn't Sanders, we wouldn't have this conversation. The only reason we're having this discussion is because his last name is Sanders. That's it. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. You're admitting to us that the only reason he's getting this is because of nepotism. That is it.
It does.
He's a nepo baby.
Sounds exactly like that. I think that it's unlikely that his number would be retired if his name wasn't Sanders.
Yes,
if Coach Prime wasn't
100%
there.
he wouldn't.
And it also is particularly bad when other Colorado greats have not gotten their number retired.
Yep.
Even a quarterback, Cordell Stewart. I saw a lot of people like complaining that he's never had his number retired. He was great at Colorado. And yet Shedeur Sanders, the day he walks off campus, is already getting his number.
He doesn't even stay for all 4 years. He was there for 2 seasons. Like, that's crazy.
I think my favorite thing is how it's, like the argument written here in favor of him having his number retired is he broke more than 100 school records. If you're telling me he broke more than 100 school records, tell me the one that's impressive.
Yeah.
That's a lot, but you're also, I feel like you're
so
telling
many
me
random records.
Yeah,
out there.
that they're not actually that meaningful. Like rushing yards by a quarterback in a game against Alabama State or something. That's not, I feel like that's what you're padding your argument with. I feel like I'm not upset because he was good at Colorado, but it just seems flimsy. Radio U, where music is going, 8772 Radio U. Hey, go ahead, get in the group chat. Let us know the weirdest TikTok or Instagram account you follow. Allie and Sparkle is here too. Sparkle, I want to know the weirdest Instagram account or TikTok or even YouTube for all I care. What's the weirdest thing you follow?
Okay, well, this is Instagram and TikTok, but there is a woman that does ballroom hair. Like, all she does, this is her whole entire account, is she does ballroom hairstyles. I cannot get enough of it. I cannot stop watching it. I will literally watch it for like 30 minutes a day.
Is it like a time lapse? So it's like...
No.
So it's just like you're watching the whole hair appointment.
I am, and it's weird because ballroom and like Latin style dancing hair is very specific. There's a lot of gel and it's really tight and there's a lot of braids and stuff. I got into this probably 6 months ago and I feel like I have to hide it from my friends because people are like, we don't understand why this is interesting. But she's got over 500,000 followers, so she must be doing something good.
Yeah, there's an audience for it. Allie, rate. Let's rate Sparkle. Let's rate each other's weirdness. Yeah.
What?
On a 1 to 10.
1 to 10? I would say out of weirdness, that's probably Like a 5 or 6 on the weird.
Yeah, I was thinking 6.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I don't think that's crazy weird. Yeah.
Okay, good.
I mean, are
Now
you ever
I feel
gonna
a little bit.
Are you ever gonna apply that to your life? Are you gonna get ballroom hairstyle?
Honestly, I feel like it's the stare. They're so tight. I'm like, are they losing their hair? So no. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely not.
Allie, you're up. Can you top ballroom hairstyles?
I don't think I could top it. Maybe the username can top it because honestly, I don't really follow a whole lot of people or accounts on Instagram. I don't have TikTok. But on Instagram, probably the weirdest is at sir.chubberton.
Okay.
And that is, it's a cat named Sir Chubbs that I follow.
And what does he do? What does he do that makes him weird?
Just does cat things. It's adorable.
I mean, that's like that's a 2. There's nothing weird about following
That's
a
what
cat.
I said. I was like, I don't really know if I have anything that fits the vibe of weird, but like out of everything on my Instagram, I was like, that's probably the most out of place thing.
Sparkle, do you believe this?
I mean, I was going to say like a 1 because the amount of Chihuahua accounts that I follow just to see Chihuahuas. I mean, I'm not lying. I would say probably half of my followers are Chihuahua accounts. It's out of control sometimes.
Yeah, following pets or animals.
I mean, it's pretty normal.
Yeah, that's very normal. Sparkle, I really think though, if we went through Allie's Instagram follows, that we would find some weirder stuff.
I am looking through, but you go ahead and give yours.
Okay.
Seeing if there's anything else weird.
My first one that I can give, and I follow this guy on TikTok and Instagram because he's that important to me. He's DC Plate King. And he's this guy that I don't know if his actual job is like selling silverware.
Okay.
But he has so many videos where he just gives like the most mundane, like over explaining different like forks and spoons, or he'll be out and he'll be like, I found this really great handrail. And so I just went up and down the stairs multiple times.
I don't know if I like that.
So I could see the handrail. And he's doing it as a joke. Mm-hmm. But like it comes off at like there are some accounts I've found that like where they just rate chairs and whatever and they actually are like they really are into it. This guy's not like he's doing this whole thing as a joke, but he puts out so many videos and they all make me laugh.
Oh my goodness. So it's more like the niche of it you like.
Yeah, just how like it's how he just over explains so much, but in a way that sounds like he's taking it seriously, but he's really not.
I'd say that's probably I'd go with 6 or 7.
6
I
or
was going to go like a 4.
Really?
That's less weird than your ballroom hairs?
Maybe that's just wishful thinking because I'm like, maybe I am the weird one out of us 3. I did think that for a minute.
I'm sure. Hey, text in 8772 RadioU. What's the weirdest account you follow? I know people can beat us.
People have to beat us, and also I want to know what other people are rating us.
Yeah,
I don't know if we're the best judges.
Rate our weirdness.
I love it.
And of course, make sure you follow at RadioU Official.
Thanks for listening to the RadioU Podcast. Don't forget to rate and review the show.